Niall Ferguson, The Cash Nexus, Money and Power in the Modern World, 1700 to 2000. Delve into the captivating world of financial power as we explore Niall Ferguson's engrossing book, The Cash Nexus, Money and Power in the Modern World, 1700 to 2000. Ferguson dismantles the popular notion that economic determinism controls everything, revealing the significant impact of war and the drive for power, violence, and sex. In this summary, we'll trace the development of financial institutions and structures, the effect of war on financial evolution, and the politics of public debt. With a closer look at taxation, democracy, military spending, and warfare, prepare to question the beliefs you held about money, power, and their influence on our modern world.
The resilience of economic determinism. The notion that money answers all things persists. The idea that economics is the driving force behind human actions has been a remarkably persistent notion throughout history. Although Marxism's collapse failed to deflate economic determinism, it survives today in several popular beliefs. For instance, individuals believe that economic growth forms the basis for the spread of democracy, and achieving economic success ensures re-election and unlocks international power. However, according to the author, political events, notably wars, not economics, have played a crucial role in shaping the institutions of modern economic life, such as tax-collecting bureaucracies, central banks, bond markets, and stock exchanges. Although economists refer to military upheavals as shocks considered exogenous to their models, the drives for sex, violence, and power can override the power of money and lead to a war. While human behavior is unpredictable, people are mainly driven by motivation and money, which does not make the world go around. In conclusion, although economics certainly plays a vital role in shaping our world, it must be viewed within the context of other factors that can significantly influence human actions and their outcomes. War and finance. War has been the catalyst for financial evolution throughout history. From melting Athena's statue for coins to pay for war, to modern-day governments using indirect taxes, the need to finance wars has molded financial structures. Corruption has been viewed as an economic rather than moral phenomenon. The death toll of war has been devastating, with the Second World War claiming as many as 57 million lives. The US and Britain industrialized war, shifting resources to tanks, warships, and aircraft to save lives. War provides incentive for financial innovation, which has been used to bridge the gap between funds needed for war and the funds on hand. The evolution of taxation. Taxation has been an innate response to financial needs, dating back to the time of Christ, where Mary and Joseph were taxed by Caesar. Wars have also been a driving force behind the rise of taxation, leading to the transformation of early warfare states into welfare states. Despite the inflation tax being a practice that predates the 20th century, it saw its most extensive and ruthless use in that era. Comparing British government finances in 1898 and 1998, the shift in taxation from mainly defense and debt service costs to a more progressive system aimed at redressing social inequality is evident. Is public debt good or bad? The book explores the concept of public debt and its impact on the economy. Although there have been historical circumstances where public debt was necessary, the question remains, how much is too much? The book delves into the Keynesian revolution in public finance, where government expenditure was used to increase domestic consumer demand. However, this strategy was not frequently employed before the 1970s. The author argues that deficit financing is not the most desirable method, and full employment is necessary to balance the budget. The book also poses the question of when enough is enough. While some view any deficit as harmful, others see debt as a sign of a robust economy. The author provides historical examples of nations that suffered from excessive service on outstanding debt, such as pre-revolutionary France, where debt service consumed 62% of the country's total tax revenues. The book concludes that while public debt can be beneficial in certain situations, it is crucial to find a balance to prevent economic collapse. Reducing politically excessive debt. Governments have 5 ways to deal with politically excessive debt: repayment, taxation, a one-time levy, default, and the inflation tax. Governments worldwide incur public debt to finance projects that enhance their citizens' lives, ranging from infrastructure to social welfare programs. However, when debt surpasses an acceptable level, governments must take action. Politically excessive debt can be reduced or paid off in 5 ways. The most acceptable solution is repayment by running budget surpluses greater than the debt interest due. However, this approach has few examples of debt being wholly repaid. Taxation is another option, but raising taxes to pay bondholders is not politically viable and can negatively impact the economy. Similarly, a one-time levy may cause less economic distortion than taxation, but political will is rare. Default, the simplest solution to public debt, involves absolving the debt, but it severely affects the government's creditworthiness. On the other hand, governments can use the inflation tax to reduce deficits gradually. By issuing excess money, inflation lowers the real value of government wages, finance payments, and other costs, while pushing the public into higher tax brackets. Although the value of money may be less, they will earn more of it in absolute terms and owe more taxes. 8 factors influencing voter behavior. In a democracy, voters' preferences are shaped by 8 factors, primarily their economic conditions, partisan affiliation, and social class. This summary will discuss how these factors influence political outcomes. In a democratic system, voters' preferences play an essential role in shaping the political and economic trajectory of their country. 8 essential issues determine the influence of the body politic. Economic indicators like real income, inflation, and unemployment are thought to impact voters' minds. Voters also consider personal circumstances versus the greater good. Instead of being driven by their economic struggles, voters may focus on how the country's economy is doing. Partisan asymmetry is also a factor, where right-wing governments may be stricter on public expenses, and left-wing governments may focus more on jobs than other aspects. People's economic preferences can reflect their political beliefs or social class. Studies have indicated that working-class people tend to lean more towards the left during unemployment. Gratitude is also a factor, where voters are more likely to punish politicians for bad economic news than to reward them for good news. Another aspect that influences voter behavior is whether they are more focused on the past or the future. For instance, U.S. presidential elections tend to show retrospective voting. Voters may focus on the economic record of the past rather than future economic forecasts and political promises. The susceptibility of the electorate to being fooled is also crucial. Some believe that voters can be easily bribed with persuasive pork barrel spending. At the same time, others believe that voters are rational and are not easily fooled. Lastly, politicians can manipulate voters by creating economic perceptions that are different from reality. In conclusion, these 8 factors are critical in shaping voter behavior and, eventually, political and economic outcomes. Understanding these factors can help policymakers create effective policies that align with people's needs. The importance of leadership and institutions in national power. The book highlights that a country's economic and military power alone are not enough to achieve national power. For key institutions, including tax collection, bureaucracy, and national debt, are essential to a country's financial strength. The concept of overstretch warns that overextending a country's reach can lead to decline. Similarly, understretch can be dangerous, and military aggression can help an economy. The book suggests that the United States should invest in making the world a safer place for free trade, capitalism, and democracy, as these institutions are vital to a strong nation. However, the fear of being seen as wielding imperial power and concerns about military casualties may prevent the country from taking action. The book serves as a reminder that economic power is just potential until it is harnessed through leadership and institutions.
Niall Ferguson's The Cash Nexus provides a fascinating journey through the interconnected world of money and power, masterfully enlightening us on the significance of war and politics in shaping the modern economy. We come to understand that economic determinism is not the sole driving force of everything. Other factors like war, politics, and human motivations play significant roles too. We also learned that the development of financial institutions has primarily been driven by a need to fund wars, and indeed, military spending can sometimes stimulate economic growth. As we explore issues like taxation, public debt, democracy, and the balance of military spending, we gain a deeper understanding of the complexities that define the nexus between money and power in today's world.